Okay, for our next step, we will be installing the motors and the harness. So if you look carefully, you can see that the laser engraved RPM numbers are visible on the tops of the motors. That also usually lines up with the black square. So on the motors, one side has the alignment notch, the other doesn't, and the laser engraving is usually on the same side as that notch. So we'll want that up so we can always tell what RPM motors are in there. You also notice that we've got the servo wire coiled nicely and neatly in there so it stays nice and low. It'll be easy to disconnect our battery if we do want to change it. The link is nice and flat on the bottom of the bot, and there's nothing to actually go like that. There's won't be anything over the antenna. So this is our goal, and the charging connector will be sticking out. So even with the armor on place here, so there's the hole to reach the switch, and the charge connector, it won't interfere with the weapons, but it'll be easy to plug in when we need to. So that's where we're going, and we'll be installing this one in here, obviously. So keeping an eye on not letting the power wires get tangled. Again, the Malinky is going to be flat on the bottom. This is our right motor, so it'll be going over to the right side of the bot. And remember, this is the right side of the bot when it's driving away from you. That's the bot's right. So even though a lot of times when we're looking at it, it's on the left. And again, making sure that we can see the RPM numbers. Now, when installing the motors, what you don't want to do is put this flat on a surface and just mash the motor in, because again, we use these snap-in motor mounts, these retaining features that actually engage with the corners of the gearbox to hold the motor real precisely, and doesn't even need zip ties. We usually add zip ties as backup, but by holding it real precisely, it makes the bots drive better. So that's why we do it, and it's always kind of a compromise or a balance between how much we're going to flex the chassis open and how much we're going to press the gearbox past those retaining features. So again, keeping it square as it goes in is very important. I'm actually going to be flexing the chassis open very slightly to take the load off of those retaining features as I do this. I don't want to pull too far, but there we go. So you can see there's no stress mark here under the motor, and all those retaining features don't appear to have any damage. And you can see that the motor holds very securely in there. You can shake the whole chassis by the motor. So that's our right motor in place, and sometimes now is a good time to go ahead and coil up the servo wire so that we can get it tucked away neatly. There's actually room for a lot of it to run under the servo itself. So we'll get that tucked into there so it's out of the way. And then our left side motor, again, making sure that we can see what the numbers are, we'll get it square. And again, I'm bending the chassis open very slightly as I press the motor in square. Then it gets past those retaining features and it's in place. So it, again, the snap-in motor mounts work really well, and if somebody was able to cut the zip ties, an undercutter or something, they certainly won't fall out. The servo connector will route across the top, and it'll connect, again, yellow to yellow and brown to brown. So that's signal to signal and ground to ground right in there. And usually get this to tuck all the way to the bottom where it will stay quite nice and neat. Now we can go ahead and we'll put the battery in while we're at this stage. And again, keeping the wiring as neat and tidy as possible, and being aware of red to red and black to black. Right, battery. We switched on, that's okay. And then the battery itself will live right there in line with the switch. This will make it really easy to remove. Well, I actually want the charging cable come out there. Blank you down. Connector there. So this is where it's kind of putting in the work. Do the work to get this tidy and neat and reachable, and it'll be worth it in the heat of competition when it's easy to get to your charging connector and inside the bot stays nice and neat. Now we do always provide a little bit of blue tack, fun tack, in the kits, and often I like to just put a little bit on the bottom of the blankie, and then we'll stick that down to the base of the chassis to hold that, keep it from getting knocked around. So there we go. There's our motors are installed, our harness is installed. There's plenty of room for everything. The charge connector will be easy to reach. The power wires are neat and tidy and not too tight. There we go.